A trend emerged during the impeachment hearing. A trend in which Donald Trump supporters tweeted, "I hired Donald Trump to fire people like Yovanovitch." This started because of the hearings where Marie Yovanovitch is testifying as to, I don't know what she's testifying to, as to why she's upset she got reassigned by the president. The Democrats are trying to claim that Trump moved her because she was obstructing his corruption. Listen, man, you got to prove the corruption first, okay? You want to claim that there's nothing here. But Twitter has begun suspending these people. In a story from Buzzfeed, led by Ryan Broderick, who falsely claimed this was bots. This is hilarious, and he's now having to walk it back. He claimed all these Trump supporters were bots. And there's a really simple explanation as to how the trend started, and I'm going to show it to you. It's possible there's automated activity or botting. Probably not. It's probably a much simpler solution in that several high-profile channels pushed the meme out and people adopted it. BuzzFeed reports Twitter has suspended several accounts responsible for spreading, quote, "I hired Donald Trump to fire people like Yovanovitch." Well, take a look at this. They say, a spokesperson for Twitter said they're looking into whether or not the phrase is trending organically or not. Here we can see a series of tweets, not all at the same time, but within a few seconds of each other, where people say, identically, "I hired Donald Trump to fire people like Yovanovitch." Now, actually, let me read and we'll debunk. The phrase, "I hired Donald Trump to fire people like Yovanovitch," trended on Twitter Friday morning as former U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Marie Yovanovitch testified in front of the impeachment inquiry held by the House Intelligence Committee. And while it may seem like a spontaneous outcry from supporters of the president, the phrase has spread at a rate consistent with the coordinated, inauthentic behavior expected from a network of bots or sock puppet accounts. Full stop, wrong, speculation, no facts, no evidence. Prove it. You didn't. BuzzFeed. Fake news. Okay? Let me tell you something. Jack Posobiec has 575,000 followers. And after saying all of this, do you know what BuzzFeed actually admits to? Although the tweet may have been amplified by automated activity, it does not appear to have originated in an inauthentic way. The first account to post, "I hired Donald Trump to fire people like Yovanovitch," was a real person. Carrie Kellerman, a pro-Trump influencer, whose tweet was retweeted by far-right activist and One America News Network host Jack Posobiec. Posobiec, in a tweet, denied there was anything inauthentic about the tweets spreading the phrase. BuzzFeed blogger Broderick is now spreading a kook conspiracy theory that the phrase, "I hired Donald Trump to fire people like Yovanovitch," is being tweeted by bots without evidence. He also renamed his account to Botnet Warlord Poso. That he did, Jack Posobiec, and he put his face is now a robot face. Let me tell you something. Jack is like, I could be getting it wrong, a Catholic, conservative, nationalist, conservative Catholic with a family. Why is he laughing and joking and having a good time at your expense? When did it become the Republicans were the ones who were laughing and having a good time? It used to be the left. I mean, look at South Park, okay? They would make fun of the moralistic Christian conservatives. You have Big Gay Al was the character, I think. And it was making fun of the authoritarian types. Something happened, and now it's Jack Posobiec making a joke out of this shenanigans, making his face look like a robot, and having a good time. It's funny, right? What do we get from BuzzFeed? "Oh, harumph, I say, it must be robots." You know, I'll tell you what, man. I'm not surprised, BuzzFeed of all places, and I've defended them in the past, that they would look at something and instead of actually investigating what this was, immediately write a story about how it's consistent with coordinated, inauthentic behavior. See how they call it coordinated, inauthentic behavior expected from a network of bots or sock puppet accounts instead of saying automated activity? They're trying to make it seem more ridiculous than it is. Let's see what he had to say and we'll debunk. To be sure, many human users are sharing the phrase, including Trump Jr., who tweeted a version of the phrase an hour after it surfaced. "America hired real Donald Trump to fire people like the first three witnesses we've seen. Career government bureaucrats want nothing more." The way the phrase has spread does not appear to be completely authentic. At least 7,320 tweets, including retweets, were posted that included the words posted in the first 45 minutes, according to an analysis conducted by BuzzFeed News. Within that time period, 83 accounts tweeted or retweeted the phrase over 10 times each. Let me just go back to what I pointed out earlier. It makes more sense now. Jack Posobiec has 575,000 followers. You know what's more shocking? There weren't more tweets. You'd think out of 500,000 followers, if Posobiec tweeted, here's a phrase, people more than 7,000 would retweet it. It's actually absurd to me that BuzzFeed doesn't understand what a follower is and numbers. 7,000 people tweeting this is not that much relative to the fact that Posobiec has substantially more. I mean, you'd think 20, 30, 40, 50,000 would have tweeted it right away, right? No, only 7,000. Actually, I gotta say this. Those are pretty bad numbers, Jack. You know, only getting 7,000 of your 500,000 followers to tweet this phrase out, man, not that good. But I'll tell you what, I'm kidding. It's infinitely more likely that when Jack tweets something out to his large following, they say, okay, and we'll tweet this too. What evidence do you have to support that these followers are bots? In response to this, Trump supporters started taking pictures of themselves, holding up signs saying, not a bot. Surprise, surprise, real people exist on the internet. Who would have thought? So he actually reached out to Twitter. A representative for Twitter told BuzzFeed News the company, copy editor guys, was looking into whether or not the activity was coordinated or not. Later in the day, several accounts in BuzzFeed News' dataset were suspended. Are you kidding me? It's like, we hear this all the time. Learn to code. A bunch of conservatives do a viral meme campaign because they're laughing and having a good time. BuzzFeed gets all angry and bent on to say, look what they're bots. And then they go and they call Twitter and they say, what are these, are these bots? What are you doing? And sure enough, Twitter says, okay, we'll suspend. Twitter makes assumptions and they act at the behest of journalists because this is what journalists do. They'll see something they don't like, and because they're basically dorm room RAs, they want to make sure no one's allowed to drink in college. Nobody can have a good time. What was that? People were posting a meme? No. Memes are forbidden because they can't meme. So basically, here's how I see it. Jack invited 500,000 people to come party in his dorm room, and they're all high-fiving and drinking beers and laughing about how much they like the president. And the BuzzFeed journalists are like, those aren't real people. He hired them. That's not a real party. And so he stomps his feet to the dean and he's like, tell them they can't be here. And so the dean goes, okay, God, stop yelling at me. And goes and starts pulling people out of the party. That's what's happening. People are literally being suspended because they got in on a meme. Welcome to Twitter. They say there's no bias against conservatives. Please point to the people who are being banned for complaining about Donald Trump. Now, look, don't get me wrong. There are people who have been. But there's a lot of people who have said really awful things about the president and been banned for it. I'm talking about why are people being suspended for tweeting, I hired Donald Trump to fire people like Yovanovitch? What about that is wrong? Perhaps, and I think it's fair to say, I think it's always fair to point out, it may have been one person with 2 or 3 accounts with some sock puppets, and maybe they posted it twice, and then Twitter said, you can't do that. Even still, like even then, it's kind of like, why can't you have more than one account in that capacity? We're not talking about people who are running a network of slave computers who are all pumping this out. He says that the phrase became popular on Twitter. It spread beyond the platform, appearing on YouTube, and in 2 4chan posts, it also began appearing in public Facebook posts. So why is it surprising that it's a trend? It's like BuzzFeed saw a trend and was confused at how trends exist and then claimed it was bots. Not every trend is a bot, dude. You know what I think it is? I think people like the people at BuzzFeed are in a bubble of liberals so much they can't imagine that conservatives exist. And so when they see this virality, they're like, no, that can't be real. I don't know a single person who's conservative. Not realizing like, dude, 63 million people voted for the president. But congratulations on calling Twitter and getting people banned over this. Separating out bot activity from genuine virality, particularly among pro-Trump social media users who often operate in ways that look like bots. What? People are nuts. It's difficult. What do you mean pro-Trump people operate in ways that look like bots? Are you nuts? Listen, man. You know what? If people behave a way, you can't claim they're acting like bots. Benchmarks vary, but according to Oxford's Internet Institute, computational propaganda team and the Atlantic Council's Digital Forensics Lab, tweeting 50 to 72 times a day is suspicious, and more than 144 tweets per day very suspicious. The rate of posts from many accounts amplifying the anti-Yovanovitch phrase is consistent with automated services. Okay, you know what, man? It's possible. Yeah, for sure. But why did he start digging into this? That's the big question. Like, what about this said to you, hey, this is probably bots? Is it surprising that someone with 500,000 followers tweeted something out and 7,000 of them then tweeted it too? I would look at that and be like, yeah. So here was my take, right? I tweeted at him saying, in my opinion, I think, there's bots. But there's no, you can't make that a statement of fact, right? I would never come out and say it's bots like Broderick did. He did on Twitter, said he called them bots. No, you can't do that. You gotta prove it. What's your source? Oh, it was an assumption. Congratulations. You made an assumption. You're probably wrong. We don't know. And now you've got this. Now you got a bunch of people banned. Twitter, YouTube, Facebook needs to stop bending over backwards for these angry, whiny people who want to kill the party. Okay, they're buzzkills. People are having a good time over here with jokes and memes, and they're laughing about it. And so all these journalists get all harumph and they go and get everybody banned. Nah, okay, not playing that game. But hey, there it is. There's your viral phrase for the impeachment hearing day 2, of which people apparently don't care for. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Stick around. Next segment's coming up in a few minutes, and I will see you all shortly.